Hello, everyone. This is Tom, your host for the Hidden Truths channel. How's everybody doing this evening? I hope you're doing well. Anyway, tonight's live stream is going to be about analyzing what's going on right now with Venezuela. And let's try to put a few of them together, especially when gold and silver are rising like crazy. Rich people are trying to protect their money because they know something's big is coming. And that would just be something that would start a big thing coming. Anyway, so that's what we're going to discuss. And with Russia giving its support to Maduro there in Venezuela and say they got their back, anyway, it could be an interesting time. But anyway, we'll wait for a little bit, talk about the weather. Well, waiting for notifications to go out and people to show up. But I tell you out here, this is the weirdest winter I've ever experienced out here. I mean, the Colorado ski resorts are definitely hurting, you might say, because, I still don't have to put the tank heater in my horse's water tank, and it's the middle of December. And today I had the windows open in the house. Yeah, in the middle of December. It was a really strange winter. It's not like I ain't enjoying it, but we do need some moisture. The thing is, the winter wheat's not going dormant because the ground's not frozen. If I was still watering my yard, I could still be mowing my grass. And it sits there and we've had teens a couple times in the mornings, but, it's not like it's getting in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, It was warm today. It had to have been close to 70. But, no, this is strange. So, but, yeah, I don't know what it does to the winter wheat if, it doesn't go dormant. And the thing is, we're not getting the moisture, so it can't grow and thicken up and stuff. But anyway, hello, how's it going, Atlas Sayakora? I was very good at English, okay? Ones and zeros, math was my subject, but I appreciate you being here. We're going to start talking. I see we got some people showing up. We're going to talk about analyzing the Venezuela ship's oil tanker seizure. Okay, let's just say I may know something about that stuff, all right? And I was watching this video, and this video just looks off and odd. I would say it was done after the seizure of the ship was taken. They seized the ship first, and then they did this video. For one reason, I say that. Lots of people get my pseudonym wrong. Don't worry about it. Anyway, the ship wasn't moving. Okay, did you notice that the ship was standing still? The chopper's just hovering there. No movement in the ship at all. He's staying steady. Okay? No, not if the ship's moving. And then these guys... I tell you what, I'll be honest with you. This looked like a training operation for a bunch of ROTC cadets. That's what it looked like to me. All right? I've speed roped out of a helicopter from 100 feet up in pitch black and stuff. It's the only time we wore gloves in the Marine Corps. They sit there, and I'd be in a 46 or a 53, and they dropped the rope out the back. And you'd sit there, you'd hit that rope, and you'd just go down, and you knew there was a guy about 5 feet above you because he hit that rope right away. You got down fast. It was for fast insertion so the helicopter don't have to land. And that's where you get the term hit and roll, because as you hit the ground, you hit and roll because there's another guy that'll land on you if you don't. So anyway, but I'm looking at this video, and the guys are not using any type of tactical maneuvers on the ship. They're gathering up. It's just, it looked like a training video. That went desperately wrong. Anyway, and then what was the deal with some of these guys having a 50-pound pack? What's up with that? It's something that seemed awful strange to me. Because that would be more if you inserted into, land type of situation where you were going to be picked up a few days later, you'd be carrying stuff like that. Anyway, but then again, it looked good, didn't it? Like the Wolen Chow, what they used to, the German, during World War II, what the Germans would sit there and play of their military, you know, doing their thing during their wars and stuff, and they play that before the movie went on in their cinemas, and you're having your kids see this stuff in crazy time. But this is what Americans are starting to seem like. They're thirsting at the mouth for this crazy violence. Ooh, I get to see another video of a boat that's cruising through the ocean getting hit by a missile, and then we're going to sit there and use a second missile, or however they killed the men in the water. That wasn't right, people. That wasn't right. Yeah, if they would have been willing to give up, if you would have sat there and tried to pick them up and they were fighting, well, that's a different story. But if they were willing to surrender, and then all this intelligence that they could be gleaning from these narco smugglers. I mean, you're not even going to sit there and get these guys so you can get any type of gleaming information off of them, useful information you may need. Really? Is that the way the military works now? Because all I got to say, if that was supposed to be some SEAL Team 6 taking over that Venezuela oil tanker, we're in trouble if SEAL Team 6 looks that much like the Keystone Cops. That's just coming from somebody that says they look like the Keystone Cops. But, it looked good. Why didn't that chopper just drop? The ship wasn't moving. All he had to do was lower himself about 3 more feet, and they could have just jumped off the damn chopper. But they weren't ready or nothing. I mean, in that type of situation, you got all the guys by the door with their feet on the skids, ready to hit the rope, not waiting to get out of the helicopter. But maybe they've changed the training. I don't know. It could be that too. But that just means that they've lowered the standards. Because if they were to try to take a hostile ship that was armed like, all what it took was a heavy machine gun to completely wipe out all that helicopter and everybody on there. And like I say, they weren't moving tactically on the deck. They were grouping up and clumping up. When they went into the bridge door, how they're all 4 of them standing right there. 1 grenade, 4 of them dead. Anyway, I don't know. Then again, training in the military, I'm sure, is suffering. But Pete Hadsick, that's what you're going to put out as material on how great our military is. Like I said, I think they had already seized the ship, and this was something to sit there and not that they didn't videotape the real thing, but this just looked like a stage event to me. Just really did. Something they could sit there and put out to the people. Anyway, it just didn't look like the real thing to me. So lots of people get anyway, don't worry. I appreciate all 3 of you being here. If you like the content, please hit the thumbs up, the subscribe, and the bell notification. I'd appreciate it. Help the channel grow. Every little bit helps. And then share my materials, share my content. Check out my other content and share it. Get the word out and stuff. Anyway, that's my analysis of the little video that they sat there and released. I thought it looked like a bunch of ROTC cadets that would really got their ass reamed when they critiqued their simulated mission. Anyway, but now let's get to the ship seizure itself. Now, we seem to be taking a lot of freedoms with this actions we're taking towards Venezuela, trying to destroy their economy and stuff. All right? Seizing their ships and going to keep their oil and stuff. Isn't that stealing? But then again, during when Russia invaded Ukraine, we seized and stole their assets, right, of hundreds of millions of dollars. Anyway, well, I tell you what, YouTube has clamped down on me so hard. This is a problem in this country. This is why we're having so many problems. This is why our country's out of control, our government's out of control, and is being allowed to do all this, I would say, criminal stuff. I mean, we used to live in a day and age where if you would attack a country or do anything like this, blockade or whatever it is, start taking over their ships, Congress would have to declare war. What happened to them days? I mean, they're allowed to sit in D.C. and, just push other countries' buttons. Over drug? This ain't over drugs. Their cartels ain't even in the top 10 in the world. CIA is number 1, and 2 through 6 is in Mexico. Okay? Why do we have a fleet of ships? We don't need a fleet of ships off Mexico. Why haven't we invaded Mexico? I mean, if we're going to invade Venezuela because they're drug cartels, then there's no reason why we can't just march over the southern border and do the same damn thing to Mexico. Okay? There's a lot more behind this. And to sit there and seize another country's assets, their product, their raw materials, we all know what this is over. We are going to World War III, people. And the U.S. is trying to shore up everybody's, why is it in this hemisphere? Because they're trying to shore up the biggest oil deposits in our hemisphere and have control of them before this war starts. That's why. Okay? This ain't nothing about drugs. And they don't want to take over the country. They would just as soon put in a puppet government that would make sure that the U.S. had complete control of the oil there. But one reason why we haven't acted is because only 20% of the American people are behind it. Trump cannot go to war with Venezuela if only 20% is behind it. But I think they're going to do a false flag. I'd say, they'll sit there and send a missile at one of our ships, maybe like the Stark, and kill maybe 20, 30 sailors, and that'll be the war drums there. You don't think our government won't kill 20 or 30 service members so they could gain trillions of dollars in natural resources? You don't think they would do that? In a second. Look how many Americans died so they could bring on the Patriot Act. I told you our politicians hate us. They just look at us as useful idiots or useful tools to do what they have to get done. They feel have to get done. But then Trump's, and then I heard something about this Trump tanker was hauling contraband oil to China and all this shit. Who is the U.S. to get involved? It's bad enough that our government has to get in every business transaction I do. The government's got to be involved, okay? But I'm a citizen of this country, and it's still bullshit. Since when is the government going to decide it's going to get, our government in the country is going to get involved between two other countries doing a business transaction? Since when? Since when is that right? They should collect gold there, if only 21 or 21 by 21 cubic meters of it. I tell you what, gold, this is another reason, okay. Our economies, this is why World War III is coming. Because there's not enough money in the world to pay the bills for any country anymore, okay? Us little people don't have enough money anymore to keep the big people going. The economies are collapsing. And the only reason gold keeps going up is because the dollar is becoming more worthless. They keep printing more of it and getting a bigger pile of money, so they just got to sit there to more money and ounce of gold to buy it. to get rid of some of the, they need money transferring from this hand to this hand to this hand. Okay, they can't have money stagnant no more. Okay, was it the velocity that money gets spent? They can't sit there and print a bunch of money and not have it go somewhere. Okay, and the government just can't spend it like that, like this $12 billion to the farmers. That's the way a government's trying to spend some of this excess money it has by giving it to the farmers. But what it does is just drives the price of gold up. I mean, gold, 4,300, it's been hanging around 41 and a half to 42 something, and it finally bounced out of that today. And then silver, whoo, whoo. Okay? I mean, if silver goes to where it should be matched, what is it, 15 to 1 with gold or whatever? I mean, you're looking at some very expensive silver. And, like $300 silver. But see, I think silver's going up so much now, too, is because the big money's buying it. Silver is supposed to be the poor man's money, and gold's supposed to be the rich man's money. Well, I think the rich have figured out they need some of the poor man's money too. And I think that's why the price is really going up. But this is just one thing to show you that stuff's about to go down. And the thing is, when this World War III starts out, do you think Saudi Arabia is going to be behind us? Not a chance. Saudi Arabia is going to be, most of their oil is going to be going to China. This is what I'm saying. They need to secure the reserves they're going to need to fight this war. War is also fought on paper. What do I mean by that? When the general staff is sitting there, they're not just adding up plans, they're adding up production. Okay, war of attrition, which most of them turn out to be, the one who can produce the most wins. And right now, China would kick our ass. That's why Rosie the Riveter won World War II. Because the U.S. manufactured more planes in one plant than all of Germany did through the whole war. I think that one was in Michigan somewhere. Up there in the Midwest somewhere. I think it was in Michigan. Anyway, and these generals, where the Germans could destroy our equipment, but we could build it faster than they could destroy it. And their generals were like, we're going to lose. And the U.S. was supplying Europe. We spent 85% of what we produced went to Europe. Only 15% went to the Pacific. And that's all it took to beat Japan. But what we produced, we could produce ships faster than they could sink them. We were kicking a B-24 off the assembly line every 64 minutes in one of the plants. 64 minutes. See, the generals got to take all that. They do the math. Actual math, okay? It's not just, we got the will to do it. We know we can get it done. You still need the logistics. Beans, bullets, bad guys, Band-Aids, okay? Got to have all that in line. And then you got to make sure you can keep it coming, like this war they think we're going to have with China. If they invade Taiwan, we don't have a chance. You're sitting there telling me we're going to have thousands of miles of supply chain, okay? And then it's not like these ships that are going to be on station out there are going to be able to pull into a port and resupply. It's going to have to be all out to sea. It's just, and China's got a bigger navy than us, and they're going to be right in their home waters, okay? China decides to take Taiwan, there ain't a frickin' thing we can do about it. All right? Anyway. Hey, I tell you what, I sure appreciate everybody being here. I've worked hard to create my channel, get my channel growing. And, YouTube's right now, they got the old both feet on the brakes and pushing down, and tires are smoking. But every day I move a little further forward. Okay, there's always forward progression on this channel. It's just sometimes I'm 3 miles an hour uh, on the side of the interstate, and all of a sudden it breaks loose, and I'm at warp one. So I just happen to be on the interstate on the shoulder, just putzing along. Anyway, that's the thing with social media, people. That's the thing with social media. And as you can see, I don't follow narrative. I'm just trying to figure out this Venezuela thing. I mean, they just got a hard on for Venezuela. So, like I say, I know it's to secure strategic reserves for the country. The U.S. is going to make sure it uses up the rest of the world's oil before we use up our oil. By the way, the seizing of these ships and stuff. I mean, I don't know how they're justifying this in the White House, how this is okay to basically be acting like fucking pirates, but there's no declaration of war or special military operation. There's been no action by Congress or nothing. And we got in this country's got a lot of U.S. They say 20% of our ships. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. By the way, 20% of our ships. What are you saying? There's 2 aircraft carriers now off their coast. How many amphibious assault ships? And that would be a few Marine divisions out there. Okay. But don't worry, Trump's not going to sit there and let that talk stop because it sounds good. It's good for propaganda. He gets people all worked up. But anyway, us off the coast of Venezuela and closing down their airspace stuff, who the hell are we? I mean, what if Russia and China decided to have a whole military exercises over, I don't know, our international waters or our country, and they just decided they were going to close the airspace in our country? God, the arrogance of our people. Anyway, but as long as the American public doesn't get behind this war that they want to start, they're going to have a false flag. They're going to get started one way or the other. Like I say, they need the oil and the rare earth minerals and stuff. Remember, anyway, when we go to war with China and Russia, we aren't going to be trading with them no more, okay? We're not just going to be trading with them no more. That's just the way it works. That would be considered aiding and abetting the enemy, wouldn't it? I would think so. So we'll see what happens, but, I'd say it's still, we'll see what the new year brings. Maybe they might even pull the string before Christmas. Who knows? But there's no reason why another sovereign nation needs to be bullied by us. It's a first senior picking on a first grader. Yeah, is Venezuela a great country to live in? No, so don't go there. This ain't about drugs, people. This is way beyond drugs. Like I say, if they want to stop the flow of drugs, well, they'd have to get rid of the CIA first, the biggest drug pushers in this country. I guarantee you there's no cartel that does business in this country without the CIA approving of it. Truth hurts. Our government is absolutely corrupt. The agencies of this government are absolutely corrupt and against the American people. And, but the American people believe the lies they say. Yeah, with no audits either. Yeah, audit the CIA. If you sit there and push that, the same thing would happen to you if you pushed audit of the Federal Reserve. It'd be a quick, non-alive, you did yourself 2 shots in the back of the head, right? Anyway, this is a crazy world we live in. I'm just, how come I can see it? And like I say, these people that YouTubers and right wing people that, oh, I just kill them, blow their boats up. I don't care. They ain't got no rights. Okay, you know how many the way we're treating these guys doing these drug runs in these boats, killing them blindly. You know how many people in other countries want to do that to Americans? A lot, a lot. Okay, and we don't need to give them a reason. Our morality, we're losing the moral high ground with this. Okay, you got to feel proud and respect the military that you serve and the leaders of that military. But if they're making decisions like that, I mean, just that wasn't the military I was in. It's like they're being taught different rules of engagement, and this is a revenge tactic, and it's not about the mission. It's about getting a lot of people to watch it on social media, the attack and stuff. It just looks bad. It looks bad. Number one, that stuff should be released to the public. It never was when I was in. I mean, that just shouldn't be released to the public. But, excuse me, I think it was all staged. Do you think it's still safe to travel as an American? No. It's not even safe to travel in our country now, is it? When I was overseas and I was in during Reagan, I was overseas during Reagan and stuff, and I saw the resentment back then that they had for us over in these other countries, Middle East and stuff. And there were times, we were always briefed on just situational awareness, we're stuff that was going on, and just, how we, when I travel through a city, when I was overseas, how I traveled through it, in a more tactical way instead of a tourist just, I travel through a little bit more differently. We were trained to travel a city a little bit more different. Things were dangerous back then. But in the military, not normally civilians, but, that was during the plane when they would sit there and hijack planes. And, they always told us, take a window seat, make sure you put your military ID, get it out of your wallet and stuff it, stick it between the window, so it falls down, get rid of it. But, if you're on a plane, you're going to, Marines just stand out, sailors stand out, Army stood out. But, just training like that, situational awareness. But yeah, it's not safe to travel as an American anymore. We are hated by a lot of people. And you go over to Europe, what are you surrounded by? Okay, the same things the Brits, the French, and the Germans are all dealing with. A bunch of immigrants that is worse than here. And if you're a woman that wants to travel in Europe as an American, Europe will be safe again. Hey, J99, how's it going? But it's not safe now. We got a world of hurt coming down. You don't want to be trapped in some country if we go to war with somebody and it takes you 3 weeks through about 20 different countries to get back home. Okay? People don't understand how bad it's going to get. How their lives are going to be totally interrupted. But, yeah, it's not safe to travel. So, like I say, it's not even safe to travel in this country as an American. So going overseas could be a little bit more dangerous too. Anyway, but yeah, it's a good question. I know I wouldn't be traveling right now. It's just too many question marks, too many ifs that, stuff can get too crazy. All I know is, you know, everybody stay safe, do situational awareness. Even church isn't even safe in this country anymore, people. You're talking, you go to a convenience store or McDonald's or whatever. Just make sure you got looking at everybody that's around. You don't have to stare at them. Just make sure you canvas the whole area, with your eyes, and if you get a gut feeling about something, then leave. Anyway, this is why I live out where this is why I live where I live, where I don't have to worry about such stuff. You people in the big city, and you're just dealing with a lot of problems. And this, I don't understand. The people in the big city should be the ones that are on YouTube screaming and hollering. And we need to change this shit. But what are they doing? They're electing communist Muslim mayors. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. What's up with 67 there, buddy? I don't understand. It's 67. I don't think it's safe. Yeah, J99. I tell you what, J99, before you showed up, I was talking about the weather. I know you guys are having a hell of a time where you are at, but I had my windows open today. My windows, it was so warm outside. Nice warm breeze blowing and stuff. It's the middle of December. I don't know. Like you say, they're getting winter just a few hundred miles east of us. Like by Omaha and stuff, they're getting winter. It's like the Mississippi, the Missouri, and then all I know is these ski resorts in Colorado and out here are hating life. I know J99, but it's starting to feel a little unnatural. Kind of when I was under that water for over 3 minutes and started to feel a little unnatural. And the thing about it is, this winter wheat, it's not going dormant, but we're not getting no moisture, so it can't grow. Hell, I think it's all they planted late first part of October because it's wet. It came up, but man, if it don't go dormant, stuff's gonna die. Anyway, that's what farming. Biggest gamblers there are, farmers and ranchers, especially when you got the Department of Agriculture determining how much you're gonna make. Anyway, but yeah, what do you think of that video of that them seizing that ship there, that oil tanker? Like you said, to me, it looked like a bunch of ROTC recruits that it had to have been staged after they seized the oil tanker because the ship wasn't even moving. I mean, they're just the way they came off the chopper. Like I say, they should have all been fucking 4 on each side, feet on the fucking skids, drop the rope, choo 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 choo. Really? I mean, and then the pack size that they had on, hell, that one had to have a 50-pound pack on. Really? It just, to me, it looked like a damn dog and pony show. And then they were clustering on the deck and nonchalantly looking around, and nobody's tactically moving. And then they go into the bridge and they got 4 of them standing right beside each other. Now, whatever. But then again, some people know stuff about this stuff. Yeah, it looked pretty sad. It just fucking looked pretty sad. But anyway, hey, it looked good to the American public. They all bought it. But like you say, I'm looking at it, it's like, that ship ain't even moving. All that chopper had to do was lower itself another 2 or 3 feet, and they could have jumped off the damn thing. Anyway, like I say, we used to speed rope from 100 feet up in the middle of the night, 13 guys hitting that damn rope. Okay? It's for fast insertion. That didn't look like fast insertion to me. anyway, that's just I don't. Yeah, it looked like a bunch of ROTC recruits to me. But I guess it was the Coast Guard, so maybe I shouldn't get so hard on them guys. But it's just, I see what I see in that is, number one, they should have picked something different. Like I say, people like me would pick out that looked like shit. And, I just don't think they should be showing that anyway, how they do that type of stuff. And like say everybody can sit there, Drew let them out. Oh, we get to see another ship blowing up, or now that we see, a boat blowing up. Now we're going to see all of a sudden these videos of them taking over these ships. We've lost some moral high ground, people. We've lost some moral high ground. I don't know how else to put it. And then killing people that are in the water. Even during the World War II, we picked the Japanese kamikaze pilots out of the water. The ones that survived, whether their plane was shot down. Still picked them up out of the water if they were able to. It's just like I say, the rules of engagement have changed. The morality of whatever morality you could have in war is not there no more. These people don't care. And like you say, you got American citizens, blow up the boats, kill them in the water. I don't care. They're dead. Good. Yep. And how many other people in other countries want to do that to Americans? And since we live in a world now, well, that guy did it, so it's okay for me to do it. Not that guy was wrong, so I'm not going to do it. No, we don't live by that rule anymore. Anyway. Oh, I've been going on for almost 40 minutes here in YouTube. I tell you, hey, J99, you like that short I put out today? From, what that picture was. And, boy... the sad part about it is a lot of people won't even know, except the older generations, aren't even going to understand that short. But one day, when the world comes to hurting like it's going to, people will understand that video. And then maybe we can start fixing our problems. Yep, I figured you would. It just came to me. I said, I was making myself some soup, and I'm like, because that picture at my grandmother's hung by the dining room table. You could walk in the dining room without seeing that picture of the old man and the tomato soup and bread. Okay, the humble old man. Okay. Too many frills and spills. Too many bells and whistles in this world these days. But, that's why when all this automation and sin and Sodom and Gomorrah and, the whole world's broke. So eventually that's going to catch up. And people will be happy just to have a bowl of soup and a piece of bread. Even if that's the only thing you get all day long. Anyway. But then you notice the shorts that they will not. I tell you what, I put out a few the last 2 days. They will not. The only way you can find them is if you sit there and dig. And dig, you'll find them. Like that tolerance one. Okay? Biggest and the best. All of them. I could sit there and put videos of my dogs on there and get thousands of views. And then I can put the bread and circus on my channel and get views. And anytime I want to put some meat and potatoes on my channel, and I can sit there. Well, I'll tell you what the kiss of death is. Within the first couple of views, if I get a subscriber and a few likes. Put it this way. If the analytics go off the chart, they shut the video down. If people like it, they shut the video down. I had lots of shorts running 70, 80% engagement rates that they just shut them down. You know, this is the algorithm. I realize this. I'm competing. I'm trying to sit there. My enemy is a fucking AI algorithm to get the word out. I mean, like I could sit there and disappear in the mountains and not have to worry about what's going to hit the rest of America. I could just sit there and fade away into the sunset. But then that's not the human thing to do now, is it? That's not the thing to sit there and, well, I'll save myself, that's it, and not worry about everybody else and not try to get the warning out there. You know, that's what I was doing up in the sandhills there. Oliver Anthony woke me up to there's bigger causes in this world. Anyway, there are times that it won't let me comment. Yeah, won't let people comment, won't let people hit the thumbs up. Like I say, my brother was watching the live stream the other morning, had to get out of his truck for a little bit, shut it off, came back in his truck, couldn't find it. Went to my channel, went to the history, went everything, couldn't find the live stream that I was doing at that time. I'm just a little simple guy, you billionaires. You mean my mouth is so threatening to you? You have no idea what these can do. That's why I know I'm over the target. That's why I know people want to watch my stuff. Because when they let off the brake, my channel goes into hyperdrive. It starts, woo, growing like crazy. Because people are pissed. I mean, did you see that video of this cashier that I don't know where she was working? It's 2 a.m. and these people came in and were rude to her, had EBT, didn't speak English and shit. 3,000 some fucking dollars. Americans are pissed, saying she has to work there, and then she don't get to go home when she's done. She's got to go to another job. It was 2 a.m. and she wasn't going to get off till 3 p.m. at her next job. Americans are getting tired of this shit. I mean, they tell me to calm down. Boy, I can go to a lot of videos that make me look like a pussycat. And these are people that aren't Marines. These are people that have finally fucking had enough. But the last thing they want is us all to get on the same page. That's why I can say this ain't a Republican or Democratic channel. This is an American channel. Okay, I don't follow those goddamn banners. Because to me, it's wings of the same bird. And I believe, like George Washington, that political parties just another way to defend the people or divide the people. Okay? I know this. J99. Maybe I should just start calling you Jennifer, but I've had 2 ex-wives named Jennifer, so I'll stay with J99. But just putting on a title, just trying to write a title sometimes, and I'll be typing in the title, and then all of a sudden my phone will start jumping screens and stuff. So I got to type the title in really slow because I used to do fast, and then I'd hit a letter, and then the screen would flip, and as I'm going down, and then I'd hit something on some other screen, and then it'd pop back. I mean, it's crazy what I do just to sit there and put it on a title on a video. I mean, they treat me like I got 10 million subscribers, and then I still don't understand on my analytics, right? For hours watched. My hours watched are like 7 million some odd percent higher than they were 365 days ago. 7 million percent plus. How many hours do you think that would be? Well, I haven't seen them. I mean, 7 million hours of 1 minute would be 70,000 hours. See in bookkeeping, when you put the double line under your total and that total gets transferred to another, and all pages match up, that's not what my analytics look like at all. No page adds up with the other page. Okay? Because according to the hours they sit there and say I have, and the messages I got said I achieved those hours, but on my pay page, I should be getting revenue from commercials already. Right now, I just get super chats, that type of stuff, donation type stuff. I hate asking for that. But anyway, I'm already past the threshold for revenue on commercials. But according to my pay page, I'm 1,500 hours less than my total. How the hell is that possible? But see, you can't call YouTube up and say, hey, I got some shit that don't look right here. Being a YouTube creator, if you go against the narrative, is very stressful. Like I say, if I was here putting on makeup, saying I want to be a girl, shoving McDonald's in my mouth, getting unhealthy and fat, they would push that. I may get 10 views for every 1,000 times they put it on the feed, but they would push that. But if you get 10 views for every 10 times they put it on the feed, that's when my shit gets canceled. My little mouth and what I have to say scares these billionaire, powerful people so much that they can't let nobody else hear it. Okay? Unless I put puppies and horses on there. This is why I do, a lot of the content I put on may not make sense. Brian Kinney, 9035. Hello, sir. Appreciate you being here. But, this is why content creators understand what AI censorship and shadow banning does. I mean, when my brother can go after he just got off the live stream, 10 minutes later, can't even find it again. No matter how hard he looked, he couldn't find it. And I was still live streaming. And he's a subscriber. What do you say about that? Just like now. They ain't promoting this video either. They don't want to. They don't want people to come together. They want to be fooled by these stupid videos that the Department of War is releasing to all the public. When somebody who knows about this stuff thinks, what a fucking joke. What a fucking joke. God dang. That would have... And then I remember once in my martial arts class, right? And they had the Post paper was there, the Camp Lejeune. What the hell was that paper called? Can't remember what the paper was called, but the weekly paper came out on Thursday. Anyway, the paper was there, watching our class. It was a military class, and a major taught it. And the picture, and then get this, right? Get this, J99. Before I get into the rest of the story, right? Paper comes out Thursday morning, right? And I'm not thinking nothing. They had been in the class about 3 or 4 weeks prior to that, right? And all of a sudden I go to the chow hall, right? And everybody's staring at me. Kind of like, making sure nothing on my face. But the whole time everybody's just staring at me. Because you have your chow halls by your unit. Anyway, so I get back to the barracks and somebody throws I think it was called the Globe. Anyway, throws the paper, top fold of the paper was my ass doing one of my stretches, the top fold. The only thing you saw was me on that old top fold. And I go, oh my God. CO called me in there and stuff. But anyway, the picture they took of our sensei, our major, was he was doing a kick, right? And he was showing how not to do it, not by bring your arms out and stuff. And they put that picture in of him, and he's like, God, that's the worst picture they could have done. I said I was teaching you guys how not to do it. Anyway, thought it was interesting. Times of the past, huh? Times of the past. Even been even been to Fort Sill? Yes, I've been to Fort Sill, Oklahoma. FO training, but I don't even know if they have FO training anymore. Fort Sill, Oklahoma. One big artillery base. At least that's what I thought it was. And then, yeah, I've been in what was it, Lawton, Oklahoma, the town there. I tell you what, that's nothing but a big cow town. It's you had that green ID, you get invited in anywhere. So anyway, yeah, Lawton, Oklahoma, that's Fort Sill. Well, many years ago, many years ago. So um, that's one thing about the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps doesn't have a lot of schools. Um, what I mean by that, you still have Marine instructors, but you go to other military bases. The Marine Corps ain't rich like the other services are. Okay, we don't have bases left and right and all this. Do a lot of training on Army bases. Like we went to Fort Bragg a lot and stuff like that. So anyway, I've been rambling off 52 minutes, so I think I'm going to call quits for the night. Appreciate everybody being here. Like I say, hit that subscribe, thumbs up, bell notification, help support the channel. I sure appreciate it because, I'm sure there's the FBI may be listening every once in a while. Google's in every once in a while. So anyway, but and we'll see what tomorrow brings. But really consider the moral ground that the U.S. is crossing by messing with other countries. Would you let your neighbor mess with you like that and say it was okay? Or somebody that just came up on the street with you like that and were trying to do stuff to interfere with your life and make your life more miserable under the grounds that, you're doing something bad. But, we got 1,000 other people doing worse than you, but we're not going to worry about them. We just don't like you right now. It's all about resources, people. It's all about resources. We're going to World War III. They need to secure our strategic oil reserves for that. And with gold and silver doing what they're doing, the rich know what's coming, okay? Anyway, all I know is it may have broke loose again. We could see $5,000 gold before the end of the year. And that's another thing, okay? What is psychologically the price of gold or the price of silver going to have to get before Americans psychologically understand that we're fucked? Okay? Dehydrated hamburger and pork burgers. Dehydrated beef patty. That was the MRE, dehydrated beef patty. Or dehydrated pork patty. That's one thing everybody wanted was a dehydrated pork patty. That was the prime thing in the MRE. But, you had chicken out of king. You had beef stew. And I'm sure the MREs are a lot different now. And then the cold weather MREs, they were bigger and stuff. But, yeah. Tell you what, all these people that are preppers that have all these MREs, that's not my preferred way of prepping food. Oh, no. You eat those babies straight for days in and days out, breakfast, morning, lunch. No, I'm not going to have to do that again. Definitely not going to have to do that again. So, it's going to get crazy out there. Anyway, like I say, that's all I got for this evening. And as an American, really consider what America stands for. Okay? We're not even supposed to be bringing peace through the world because all we do is bring war. We're supposed to bring peace to the people that want to come to the United States as Americans and bring peace to them people. Okay? That want to escape this shit. But they got to come and want to be Americans. Anyway, Crazy times, people, crazy times. Can't wait to see what happens. Well, tomorrow will be Friday. Dump day, right? Anyway, we'll see. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll probably see you guys tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be in the morning. Kind of mixing up the live streams, trying to mess with the algorithm a little bit to see if it's like I say, it's always a content. It's always sitting there. It's like AI has got their defensive perimeter, right? And you're probing that perimeter and seeing where, a spot that they haven't covered that you can get through, some new tactic you can use to get through the algorithm. If it's only for a couple hours, okay? Constant battle with AI. Like I say, when it comes time to actually, us content creators, when it comes time for us actually have to deal with AI trying to take over our lives completely, it's going to be a lot easier for us. Right now, they're just trying to control our speech. Like I say, it pisses me off more than anything that YouTube has AI. I mean, what is a place? Nothing but one big server. They don't have people there no more. I mean, is AI going to be Neil Mohan and his secretary and that's it? Almost sounds like iRobot to me, huh? Where the AI is actually controlling the humans. Anyway, crazy times we live in, people, crazy times. But like I say, check out the rest of my content. Share it if you like it. Leave a comment, please. The best way to start a dialogue is to start communicating. Not by being insulting, but by communicating. All right, I know my opinions aren't all the right opinions, but I got an open mind and I listen. Some people say, well, you kind of seem kind of stern in your ways or whatever. You don't bend. I just want to sound confident. And when I talk about something, I do know about it. Anyway, confidence, there's nothing wrong with confidence. People eventually gravitate towards people that have confidence. And the weaker among us, they don't like it, okay? They don't like seeing somebody and realizing that they could never achieve such success. So what they got to do is attack that success, okay? So never be ashamed of what you achieve, because somebody who has less ambition, who maybe ain't quite as equal to you in every way, is mad at you, okay? Stay strong and stay the course. Stay true to what's important. Anyway, appreciate everybody being here. This is Time with Hidden Truths. Smile your way through the day. J99, you need to check out Eric Comp, ERICCOMP. That'll be me on my horse next year. Everybody have a great night. This is Time with Hidden Truths. I'm out of here.